So because Claude only borrowed the money from his mother in order to develop the perfume, Brigitte doesn't have a claim?
Not according to the bank's lawyers. And provided you repay Madame Dupont's original loan with interest, of course.
Oh, and in all, that shouldn't amount to more than about £20,000 at the most.
No, I should say that would be a reasonable figure.
Well, that is a relief.
Well, the last thing we wanted were any problems on the eve of the flotation.
Well, good luck. I'll be in touch tomorrow when we see how the shares are trading.
All right, Francis. It's all right, I'll get it. Hello, House of Howard.
Well, thank you for that news.
A pleasure. By the way, has your mother had a talk with you recently?
She never stops. Why?
Nothing. I just wondered.
Yes, yes, I'll definitely call you back today. Bye.
Who's that?
Oh, just a local rag wanting an interview. Do you know, I think you owe Lynn an apology.
Why? If Brigitte Dupont did have a claim to the perfume rights, we could have been in serious trouble.
Ah, but she doesn't have a claim, does she?
No, but Lynn should have checked it out thoroughly before coming to me with the idea.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But why did you shut Lynn out of that launch like that?
Robert, video units and models cost a great deal of money. I had a schedule to keep to.
Yes, I know, and I think you did a first-class job. And as your business consultant, I'd be the first to applaud you. But as your friend... Well, after seeing what happened to my own wife and kids after she decided to put her career first... Well, look, I just don't want to see the same thing happening to you, that's all.
You should have told me.
You would have tried to talk me out of it.
You're damn right I would. And if you think Charles is going to take this lying down, you're very much mistaken.
He doesn't have a choice. He's lost the support of the entire board.
Because Ken has been power-broking, and he's used you and Orrin to do it.
The only person Charles has to blame for losing control of his company is himself. He's obsessed with Sir Edward. He hasn't got a clue what's going on.
Abby, you can try and justify this as much as you like. The fact remains you plotted behind his back and mine.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and maybe I should have told you, but I don't feel any sympathy for Charles. Neither should you. Not after he used you all those years.
He hasn't used
But, Daddy, look, you must see that you are just as responsible as Charles, maybe even more so, for the success of the company. It's ironic, isn't it? If it hadn't forced you to resign and you were still there to pick up the pieces, you wouldn't now be in this mess.
I take no great pleasure in that. I found the entire event utterly distasteful.
Hopefully that won't prevent you from accepting the chairmanship of Freer Holdings. I proposed you as the ideal candidate to succeed Charles. The board agreed, unanimously.
I can't even begin to think about something like that. All that concerns me is that over the years of bringing you up, I tried to impart certain principles and ideals. I thought I had an influence on you. God knows I even thought of you as my real daughter. But you're not. You belong to Polly and Charles.
It's not true, don't say that.
No. Take a good long look at yourself in the mirror, Abby. I don't know if you like what you see. I certainly don't. I don't know who the hell you are anymore.
Thanks.
So, this time tomorrow you should be just past Cherbourg.
And you'll have just finished your first day in control of the Mermaid.
Yeah.
Something I said.
No, I was just thinking about Dad. What would you have said if he was here?
I'll bet he'd have been thrilled to bits that you were following in his footsteps.
It's a tall order. He's a great man, Dad. He was there when I needed advice.
I know I'm a poor substitute, but if there is something you want to talk about...
No, it's just, tomorrow's also the day I'm supposed to hand Thomas over to Abby.
And you're not happy about that?
Nope. That's the problem. Neither's Gran. She thinks I'll be acknowledging Thomas's welfare isn't in jeopardy if we ever went to court.
I thought you were both going to try and agree on a joint custody.
We did. Today. But I don't know if it's going to work out. Whether or not I should still hand Thomas over.
So, what are you going to do?
You're late. I was starting to get worried.
Yeah, sorry. Turner's been having a few problems with a prop he's been working on. So I decided to stay behind and give him a hand.
Well, now you're here, perhaps you could give me a hand.
Why do we have to pay removal men to do the packing? And end up doing it ourselves?
Well, not all of it, just a few personal belongings. Now, I didn't know what you wanted to do with that stuff of yours from the attic, so could you go through it and sort out what you want to take?
Right. My first bud. I've been thinking, Vanessa. How would you feel if I offered Tony a job at my new yard? He's a first-class worker.
And that's the only reason you're thinking of offering him a job?
Of course it is.
Well, wouldn't hurt to see how he feels about it, I suppose. Why don't you have a word with him?
I already have.
And?
He wants time to think about it.
And that bothers you?
Well, I can't understand it. I mean, here's a great chance of learning to become a real craftsman instead of working on all that high-tech junk.
Perhaps that's not the only choice he has to make.
How do you mean?
Jack, you and Bill both thinking of him as the son you never had.
Tony doesn't have a clue about all that.
As far as you know, I think he knows a lot more than he lets on.
Well, if he does, I'd hate to force him into a position of choosing between me and Bill.
Precisely. You can't put any pressure on him. It has to be his decision.
I've already had a lecture from Robert, Mother. I do not need one from you.
It's high time someone knocked some sense into your head. You're not getting your priorities right, darling.
Why? Because I stay late at the office occasionally?
That's fine, just so long as you devote the same amount of time to your family.
I devote more than enough time to my family, Mother.
You may think so.
Would you like a drink?
No.
Look, if Leo and Lynn were younger, I could understand.
Have you noticed how concerned Leo is about Thomas?
Yes, of course I have.
And have you sat down and talked to him about it?
Not at any great length, no.
Why not? I urge you to do so. He doesn't know which way to turn. And neither does Lynn. She's been upstairs in her bedroom crying all evening.
Why? What on earth's the matter with her?
You are going to be a grandmother again. Lynn is pregnant.
Charles Freer.
Yes, Charles Freer.
Why didn't she say something?
She tried to get you all day, apparently, but you were too busy. It might also interest you to know that Admiral Redfern has asked me to marry him.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But the only thing that spoils it all is that I haven't been able to discuss it with you before accepting him.
Look, after tomorrow, once the company is floated, I'm sure there will be more time.
You must make time, darling. What's the point of being a successful businesswoman if you lose contact with everyone around you? It's a terrible price to pay.
I'll go and see Lynn.
Good.
I really am delighted with your news.
I must admit that a merger between us sounds an extremely tempting proposition.
Certainly does to me, too.
But I'll have to think about it. Otherwise, after whining and dining me, you might have me at an unfair advantage.
I think after taking me to your bed, Avril, you're definitely the one with the unfair advantage.
Well, let's stop talking about business, shall we? I'll give you my answer in the morning.